I'm bored, so let's talk about Hamilton. Hamilton the Musical is a massive musical and studio album with the first and earliest version of the song being showed for the Obamas at the White House's An Evening of Poetry and Music and the spoken word. Later, it was recorded in 2016 and brought by Disney to be played on Disney Plus, where it achieved most of its popularity. But who really cares about that? See, what I ultimately care more about isn't the history, it's the music. Hamilton the Musical uses a multitude of motifs, or short musical ideas, across the entirety of the musical. These motifs tend to invoke a certain attribute of a character and are used during their big moments. Now would be the time that I start listing off each and every motif that's used and how each one plays into the character and how my personal opinions, play into each motif. But no, I'm not going to do that, as much as I'd enjoy it. Instead, I'm going to talk about one singular and, in my opinion, the most significant song within the first act, Non-Stop. Not talking non-stop, of course, the song, Non-Stop. I will occasionally be referring to the past motifs within Hamilton, so please listen to the first act at least. You don't really have to watch the movie. Most streaming platforms have the music already available anyway, so please just go listen to it and then come back to this. Non-Stop probably comes in at both the best and worst times in the musical. It quickly demonstrates the events that followed for the major characters after the war ended, much like the first song of the musical, and how it quickly shows Hamilton's life before he came to New York. However, it comes right before the intermission, leaving the audience wanting more. But then it's kind of just over. But let's analyze what makes Non-Stop so good. As the song starts, it shows Aaron Burr and Hamilton briefly explaining what they did after the war. They finished practicing law. This was both Burr and Hamilton's goal since they joined the war, even before then. However, now the audience knows more about Burr and Hamilton and their reasons for going into law school. As we learn in Wait For It, Burr wants to be a lawyer because of his family's legacy that he now has to uphold, all on his lonesome. He, like his father, must demand respect and be, like his mother, a genius. Hamilton, however, is not doing any of this for anyone. He's doing it for himself, for his legacy. He wants to prove himself no matter what. He wants to just do what he can. He's not throwing away his shots and acts as though he needs to succeed to prove himself to others. Moving on, within the first court case, Hamilton and Burr attend together. Hamilton continues to show his slight distaste for Burr, referring to him as an assistant counsel rather than a co-counsel. This undermines the effort that Burr has put in to achieve a similar status as Hamilton. Burr quickly corrects Hamilton, furthering a pre-existing rivalry within them that comes to a head at the end of the movie. Finally, we arrive at the first chorus of the song. Burr repeats a question to Hamilton, asking why he assumes he's the smartest in the room. This can be interpreted as Burr believing he's smarter than Hamilton and builds more hate towards Hamilton for continuing to undermine his talent. Or, alternatively, he's just genuinely asking his friend why he thinks he's the smartest in the room, because he knows that such a belief, such a mentality can lead to worse things along the line, because as his line says, that attitude may be your doom. Skipping past Hamilton being cocky and claiming to have perfected the law, Burr then talks about Hamilton's speech at the Constitutional Convention, where Hamilton talks about his preferred form of government for the new United States of America.
Right, young man. Yo, who the F is this?
Burr then continues the chorus by questioning Hamilton, saying everything that he believes and how it can backfire on him, showing Burr is much more cautious in his approach to politics. Hamilton, however, goes full force into what he chooses to believe and spares no one the details, much like he did in the past as a general of the war. In the next scene, Hamilton arrives at Burr's house and asks Burr to join the Federalist Papers alongside James Madison and John Jay, as well as Hamilton himself. Burr denies. He urges Hamilton not to publish the essay since it will continue to add more fuel to a fire Hamilton's opponents have been burning, further showing just how cautious Burr is compared to Hamilton. This leads to the first motifs used from a previous song. Burr's motif from Wait For It. I'll keep all my plans close to my chest. Wait for it, wait for it. I'll wait here and which way the wind will blow. I'm taking my time, watching the afterbirth of a nation, watching the tensions grow.
For once in your life, take a stand with pride. I don't understand how you stand to the side.
I'll keep all my plans close to my chest. I'll wait here and see which way the wind will blow. I'm taking my time, watching the afterbirth of a nation, watching the tension grow.
This continues to demonstrate Burr's slow dislikingness to Hamilton and his achievements, as well as, again, his cautious nature in approaching anything having to do with politics to keep not only his but his parents' legacy and reputation safe and protected. Now we arrive to Angelica's goodbye to Eliza and Hamilton. She is sailing off to London and has found a new man to marry. Finally, she is satisfied with her life, something Hamilton has yet to accomplish. This is then followed by Skylar motif and Eliza's motif and from Stay Alive. She talks about how Hamilton should be satisfied now, much like Angelica. However, Hamilton continues to not be satisfied with his achievements. Following this is Burr's quick explanation of Hamilton's Federalist Papers, and the third use of the chorus, where, once again, Burr asks Hamilton, this time more enviously, how and why he writes every day like he's running out of time. This repeated chorus also builds upon another motif that's introduced in the song, the time motif. It's later used consistently throughout Hamilton and Hamilton's motif alongside the shot motif. The fact that Hamilton's not throwing away his shot. Now we arrive at Hamilton being chosen as Washington's Secretary of Treasury. This is met with, similar to the Skylar motif, no lyrics quoting previous motifs, but rather the musical notes invoking the idea. The motif isn't Washington's motif like most would expect, but rather history's eyes motifs. Following Hamilton becoming the treasurer, Hamilton returns home and begins packing to go to Washington DC for a meeting the rest of Washington's council, which is shown in Act 2. Here, Hamilton somewhat mocks the Skylar motif by telling Eliza to
look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. Helpless.
Eliza responds with her own motif from Helpless, and Is This Enough? Again, she asks why Hamilton isn't satisfied yet with his achievements. Now we arrive at the reason I made this in the first place, the ending. Washington adds in the fact that the people are asking not only him, but Hamilton to lead. Eliza again asks why everything still isn't enough, to which Angelica answers by telling her sister that Hamilton will never be satisfied with anything. This leads to a sort of chaotic sympathy that many people may already recognize as being used at the end of We Don't Talk About Bruno from Canto, another one of Lin-Manuel Miranda's works. The music then begins shifting between Burr's motif, the time motif, Eliza's motifs, Angelica's motif, the history motif, history's eyes motif, Washington's motif, everyone's motifs that have already been brought up to this point before coming to a head at the end as Hamilton begins repeating his motif from the start of the musical and ending with the shot motif. My name is Alexander Hamilton. Hamilton, just you wait. I'm not throwing away my shot.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. I am Alexander Hamilton. Hamilton, just you wait. I am not throwing away my shot.
Now we arrive at the intermission. This song really stood out to me. When I first watched the musical, it's probably one of the 3 songs that I replay constantly when re-listening to the album from time to time. Truly, it is a masterpiece, as it recaps the events after the war, but also uses many old motifs, giving different people different things to latch onto as their favorite part of the song. Additionally, it also introduces the time motif, which will be later used during the second act and the rest of the musical. Without doubt, this song, in my opinion, is the best within the entire musical. Thank you, and have a good day. Before I go, I'd also like to give a huge shout out to SZIN or Zin. They were the ones who provided the animatic that I used throughout the video, because I wanted to use the actual footage from Hamilton, but I didn't want to get copyrighted. So yeah, huge shout out to them. Go check out their stuff. The link to the video that I used will be in the description and the pinned comment. So yeah, check it out. They're cool. Thank you.